Good evening, Chicago, and welcome to the TCRA LGBTQ show. And I am Jackie McKethan. I am going to talk about some recent news and issues and whatnot that the transgender community has faced. If you would like to call us and ask a question or make a comment, we invite you to do so. We would love to hear from you at 312-738-1060. Our show is sponsored by, or not necessarily sponsored, but our show is brought to you by the Civil Rights Agenda. Civil Rights Agenda is at 2129 Northwestern Avenue in Chicago. Phone number 773-235-8852. I tell you that because if you would like to volunteer at any time to help the trans community, you are more than welcome. And I will show you the slide again if you want to get the phone number. Civil Rights Agenda is a large organization that advocates for and supports the transgender community, as well as the LGBTQIA. Okay? So, I want to talk a little bit, just since last month, I had an opportunity to go to Senator Dick Durbin's office and talk to some of his staff about some of our issues. And the two big issues I wanted to talk to him about, which I did, is first of all, the new Equality Act. Now, I had been told, and I don't know by who, but I've been told by somebody that the new Equality Act had been not approved in the U.S. Congress, and that is not true. First of all, the new Equality Act is a bill that sponsors or a bill that was sponsored by 205 Democrats in both the Senate and the House. And the bill was actually two bills, one for the Senate, one for the House. Senate Bill 1858 and House Resolution 3851. Those two bills were sent simultaneously to the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate. I got a chance to talk to some of Durbin's staff, and they said that they have not been defeated. They are still out there. And the problem is the Republicans are not scheduling them to be brought to the floor until after the election, and they see if they maintain control or not. So one of the things we have to do is we have to get more Democrats elected to both the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate. Okay? The other thing we have to do is we have to call our senators and our U.S. Congresspersons for our districts and tell them that we want these bills passed and do whatever we have to do to support passing of those two bills. Those two bills will actually allow more protection for the trans community. Keep in mind, we still have 30 states that do not have state court protection for discrimination in the job place, for discrimination in housing, okay? In states like Kansas, Texas, Missouri, Wisconsin, Indiana, those states, LGBTs or transgenders can, by law in those states, be fired just for being transgender, gay, bisexual, or any other form of the LGBTQIA family. Okay? And looks like we have a caller already. Hello, caller.
Good evening. How you doing?
Okay. You have a comment or?
The blind country boy, and I don't understand certain things. Donald Trump running mate happened to be of a state where it's going to be perfectly legal to discriminate against gays. If I'm wrong about anything, you stop me dead in my tracks. We got a deal?
It's absolutely true. It's true.
Now, I don't understand certain things, all right? And I don't see how this guy wind up being Donald Trump the nominee. Now, he won't, if you're going to be president, you got to be willing to speak in front of a certain group that has invited you. He will not speak in front of the Urban League, the NAACP, other gay organizations as well. And this guy, he believes in this wall we're about to construct. He believes in torturing prisoners. Now, if I stop me if I'm wrong, okay?
Sure.
If I'm wrong or incorrect anything, you stop me, okay?
Okay, sure.
He had made statements that's anti-woman.
Sure.
And I just and when he before he had to be taken to court that for minorities to be able to live in his housing place that he rents. Now these things are matter of fact. When you look at Trump University, there's a lot of people that's on fixed income wind up taking those loans and things out so they can get the associate or the degree, whatever it may be. And guess what? The paper was written on his wind up, it was no good. Now I don't see how this con man wind up being the nominee and we wind up being fooled. And I want to say one little political thing, okay? One little political thing.
Go ahead.
First of all, if you sit back and you don't want Donald Trump and you don't vote, guess what? That's a vote for him. If you sit back and you vote for, say if you don't vote for Hillary, you decide to vote for Libertarian, guess what? That's still a vote for Donald Trump.
Yes.
But again, I'm just the blind country boy. What do I know? Just think about some of the things I mentioned, okay?
Well, you're very smart for a country boy, but I was too, to a degree. But you're absolutely right on every one of those issues. The problem is Donald Trump has said that he doesn't oppose transgenders using the washroom that they identify with, and yet his vice presidential selection, Mr. Pence, who's governor of Indiana, is 180 degrees different. And the Republican Party has a platform which includes planks that are totally, absolutely anti-LGBTQIA, anti-women, anti-minorities, etc., etc., etc. So the Republican Party represents no social group that's looking to be equal, have rights and justice. We have another caller. Go ahead, caller.
Take care.
Okay, caller, go ahead.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I have a dear friend that has a 1-year-old child. He's also a barber, and he was driving from school, and he had to drive through a certain part of Indiana, and the cops pulled him over, from what he's told me, jacked him up real bad, and gave him a lot of frivolous charges, and he needs a lawyer to represent him in Indiana. Can you please help him with, do you have any information on any affordable attorneys that can represent him in Jasper, Indiana?
I can do this. I can, once again, I'll show the overhead for the Civil Rights Agenda in Chicago. Call their phone number, 773-235-8852, and ask them who he could get a hold of, because they are there to help people that are having trouble with issues related to inequality whatsoever. Okay? So I would strongly advise probably call them and see if they can refer you. Okay? So anyway, getting back to, yes, there are lots of issues. And that's why it is so very important that we work and strive to get the new Equality Act passed in both the House and the Senate, so that for those states that I named, I mean, there's 30 of them, and I can't name them all. I can tell you that probably the entire southern states, including all of the states from North Dakota to Texas in that line, are all part of the 30 states. And Wisconsin, Indiana, Tennessee, of course, and you know, it's mind-boggling to think that in this century, we still have people that are being fired just for being who they want to be. And there's no state court protection because they don't have gender identity written into their legislation as far as somebody that should not be discriminated against. Okay? So, by all means, we need to get the public involved. We need everybody. We need our allies. We need our friends. We need everybody possible. A good example here in Illinois, and this is one I'm trying to get an answer on. Illinois in 2005 did include gender identity as something that could not be discriminated against in our equal rights legislation, and yet here's Palatine, Illinois, the high school or the school district telling high school children or high school kids that they cannot use the washrooms or the locker rooms that they identify with. And I bet money to donuts or whatever that it's the parents, not the kids, that are most concerned about it. Okay? Kids are smarter. Kids are much more accepting. Kids are a lot less concerned with who people are than a lot of the adults. And that's what's causing the problem. So, hello, caller. Go ahead. Caller?
I just had to make this other comment. I'll be done real quick.
Okay.
When the Republican Party made comments about Chicago, talking about the shootings and all that was happening, and once again, if I'm wrong, stop me dead in my tracks. The city of Chicago is in the is right mid of the country, all right? And we got the Great Lakes, got the main waterways come through Chicago. We got the interstate highways. We have railways that come through here. And when you look in terms of infrastructure, in terms of transportation, it's a wonderful place for drugs to come through. And that's the reason why we have a $3 billion industry in terms of the drug traffic that come through Chicago. And when anytime you have drugs, you gotta have other crimes that come along with it. And when you look at the Republican Party and you look at Donald Trump, he sit back and he say things that look at the president's hometown and look at the problems that he have in his hometown, and they try to put that fault on him. And I'm talking about facts. Once again, I'm a blind country boy. I don't know. But look at the facts, though, okay? It don't take nobody that much intelligence to figure certain things out. The reason why we have certain problems there is in Chicago is because of the drugs problem. And because of the infrastructure, like talking about in terms of the interstate highways, a lot of times you got truck drivers that have loads of drugs, and we got all these different waterways, and we got the railways. Just use some common sense and figure out why we have certain problems right here in the Midwest.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly.
Take care.
You too. Thank you so much. And you are very up to date on a lot of things that are going on. And I agree with you 100%. The drug traffic and the gangs are what causes the most problems. Part of the problem, though, that stems from that is, first of all, I agree there are policemen that like to use the position to be bullies, okay? And I have no qualm, I have no doubt of that whatsoever. There needs to be some better police training and initiatives along that line. But coupled with that, there also has to be parents, and I don't care what race, there have to be parents that take accountability for the way their kids act socially. Okay? They're not training them at home how to be good kids. Okay? They probably see bad examples, bad habits. There's got to also be accountability by parents that, and I continually see something happens to somebody, and again, it doesn't matter about race, but somebody gets picked up and gets in a squeeze, and all of a sudden, here's the parents saying, well, my son's not like that, or my daughter's not like that. You probably don't know your child well enough to know that that's exactly the way they came up, and parents have a lot of stake in that particular situation. Okay, that's just my rant on that for now. It's not meant to offend anybody, but I see the police need to be better, and the city needs to be better at dealing with people. But on the same token, a criminal is a criminal, and do we want them running around the street free as a bird? Okay, just a thought. Anyway, I do have some news for transgenders that are, and allies and friends of transgenders that are watching. One of the big news is that, which I found out in Washington, D.C., and I think it's been on the news lately and been in the papers, that the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Department of Defense is actually starting to enlist transgender people into all of the branches of the military service. And this is good, okay? They've worked out the logistics and talked about it and figured it out. But now transgenders can actually be part of defending this country. And the sad part is part of this country, like the 30 states I've mentioned before, that don't accept us, I think eventually will have to, okay? Because they'll have to wake up to the fact that this isn't the year 700 AD or 700 BC or anywhere in that neighborhood. This is the 21st century. And the United States is supposed to be a place where people can live the way they want, as long as they don't commit a crime, obviously. But we are supposed to be a country that heralds the ideas and concepts of freedom, justice, equal rights, and those type of things. Hello, caller. We have a caller. Hello, caller. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, how are you today?
Beg pardon?
Yeah, how are you today?
Oh, I'm fine. Got to kind of speak up. I don't know. It's hard to hear in here, but
okay. Yeah. How about now? Can you hear me better now?
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. I was calling. I come from a military family and everything like that too, and me having ROTC experience too, and I mean, I have no disrespect against you guys or anything like that, but I mean, I will not lie to this country. I will not call, because I have a daughter. I will not let a transgender go in the bathroom with my younger daughter. And I will not call a transgender a ma'am. I mean, not in the service. I will not do that. I mean, that's disrespect to my country. I will not do that. I mean, this is getting out of control. I mean, this is going to cause a lot of havoc. This is my opinion on this.
Oh, it does. You're 100% right. Let me just say one thing about the bathroom issue for those that are watching. First of all, I think basically this whole thing, if you notice, the states that have done all of this stuff are pretty much southern states that do not have, are part of the 30 states, okay? They're Republican, and they have done this, in my viewpoint, more to create an issue to scare women, because women know that the Republican Party does not support women's rights. So to scare the ladies into voting for Republicans, they figure, okay, well, let's use the transgender community. People have to realize one thing. I myself, I do use the ladies' room. And I go in the ladies' room because I lay you odds, I guarantee each and every one of you, if I went into the men's room dressed as who I am and living as I do, I'm the one that would be assaulted, harassed, beat up, raped, whatever the case may be. Okay? The ladies' room is one place we're not going to mess around in, for the simple reason that is our safe haven.
Okay, but it's your safe haven. But, you know, people have kids like myself, and I will not have a transgender go in the bathroom with my daughter. I'm sorry. And knowing the same thing what I have, and I have to go, you know, go in the men's bathroom and pull out my long john, or it's not okay for you to do it.
Okay,
I
but
have a right to defend my daughter.
well, sure, but here's my point. Transgenders, okay. Some guy dressed in a, you know, with a wig on and a dress and no makeup. He's got a 5 o'clock shadow. He's got jeans under his dress, and he's got work boots on or something. That is not a transgender person. A transgender person will go to the extreme lengths to be looking as much like a female as they can. They are not going to waste time and mess around in the ladies' room. First of all, you can't see a thing in the ladies' room. There's nothing to see. Because you go into it.
My daughter is able to tell, you know. She's able to tell a man from a woman. She'll say, that's a man coming to the bathroom.
Well, you know what, sir, and I'm not trying to be, you know, nasty or anything. I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to
God made you a man. God didn't make you a woman. You got to die as a man.
I don't want to be insulting, but you know what? That can happen in a grocery store in the middle of 200 or 300 people. A kid can say, oh, is that a man or a woman? Okay. I remember several years ago, I moved into an apartment and I was dressing full time and I was on hormone therapy, and I went to the dumpster with some trash, and this little girl, probably 5, 6 years old, something to that, and she comes up and she looks at me and says, excuse me, and I said, what's up? And she says, did you know that your voice sounds like a man? Now, she didn't say I look like a man, but she said, and I call customer service anywhere, and the first thing they say is, yes, sir. I can't afford to get the the speech training to change my voice, but that's neither here nor there. My point being that transgenders do not use the washroom as a means to do anything wrong whatsoever. And part of it comes from, you know, I understand what the gentleman is saying. With all due respects, my answer is we need to train our children not to be discriminatory, and at that juncture...
No, but it's not right. Do you know it's an abomination to do that? They're integrating you guys in our churches. I will not go to a church like that. You will not take me to hell with you. I will not go.
Well, okay. Let me say one thing.
It's going to cause a big confusion here. I'm not perfect either myself, but I will not, you know what I'm saying, sit in a place of worship with a homosexual. I'm not going to do it.
Well, let me say this.
Let
me say this.
The same thing that I have.
Let me say this, sir, and we're getting close to out of time, but let me say this. Religion is something that you are free to do on your own, okay? It's called freedom of religion. But you cannot impose your religion on anybody else. And you can't tell an LGBTQIA person, you can't go to this church or that church because we don't believe in it. That's not up to humans to do. I only have one judge, and that's God. And nobody else dare judge me.
The hell with you. I will not sit in the same church with you. I will leave that church and bring
then that's
home.
your prerogative. That's your prerogative.
Got to practice it here.
But I have a right to go to whatever church I want too. Sorry. Anyway, we have one last caller. We got to make it quick though. Go ahead, caller.
I'll make it quick, all right? And just use some common sense. That man's child is most likely to get molested by another child their age. Now, there's a common sense. We got all this technology. If you're so worried about people being attacked in the restroom, put panic buttons in it. You know, use some common sense, all right? This is a blind country boy just gave a simple solution to a problem. And like I said, his child is more likely to get molested by another child their age than a grown person. Bye.
Thank you so much. And I agree with that. But the bottom line is we are all people, and we got to get along. There's no use in fighting over things that we can't change. So why can't we just all get along? You know, there are countries where live and let live is a matter of way life goes on. I think we should be able to do that. Anyway, that's all the time we have for today. We had quite a healthy discussion today. It was a good discussion. And we invite you all back next month, same time, the third Friday of every month is when I'm on. So come back the third Friday of next month, same time, 6:30 Central Standard Time. And we will talk more, okay? Until then, happy days, and hope everybody gets their wishes if they're reasonable wishes. Okay? Alrighty. Good night.